Well, I think that pinching cosmos will be a nice light job for me. So I wait for them to get a little bit taller before I start pinching them out so they don't branch too low down, because that makes it a nightmare for staking. So I'm going to take out the tops now about here, and then that should create side shoots from where I've cut the plant. And then we've got a nice strong stem to hold the flowers aloft. Here we go, can you see here I've got some side shoots just there. Now they are not going to really grow until apical dominance is removed. So by taking out the top of the plant, I'm just going to snip it just above a set of leaves. That's removed the apical dominance, and then these side shoots can now wake up and give you a really lovely bushy cosmos plant. If you want to, if they're close to flowering, if you've got buds, there's no reason why you can't let them flower first. And then once they've started to bloom, take that flower indoors and you'll be pinching at the same time. Here we go, as an example, I've got some here and they've got buds on them. So why not just let them flower? It's only going to be a day or two, it won't do them any harm. And then I can take a nice bit of stem off, just tall enough for a little vase, and then we can pinch and pick flowers at the same time. And you can also check to make sure that you've got your right label in it and you know what colour your plants are. Oh, look at that, just a few cosmos in a lovely vase. You could always add some foliage filler if you wanted to, cut from the garden, any shrubs. But I think they look perfect just as they are to go on my bedside table. Cute. Now with zinnias, you do need to make sure you give them a good pinch, because if you are too delicate, maybe just taking out this top section here, what can happen is that you don't actually remove the apical dominance and they grow back with just one stem. So you need to make sure you take a nice big chunk off so that the apical dominance is properly removed. So there, or even there. If you go to my website, there's a video I've recorded already and it shows you an example of plants that have been pinched properly and plants that have not, so you can see exactly what happens. So if that happens to you, if you've been too delicate and that happens to you, you'll know exactly what to do. And again, I do have a bud here, so if you want to wait for the flower to come out first, and you can check what variety it is, make sure that you know, then that's absolutely fine. There is no hurry. We have a long season ahead of us. If you're horrified and you're a bit nervous about doing it, what you could always do is take out half the stems and leave half in place, which will flower earlier on big fat dinner plate stems, and then half will flower later. Over the years I've tried it all, and personally I prefer being brave and chopping them all down now, especially as we're doing it a little bit early when the garden is a little bit more abundant and overflowing, and then hopefully you'll barely notice. So if you want to have a go at taking your own sedum cuttings, and honestly it's so easy, you will feel like a genius. And I also think they look like those succulents which are so fashionable in bouquets. So you got your stem and then just pop that in the vase. Vase needs to be nice and deep with water. You can arrange flowers in it as well, it won't do them any harm whatsoever. And then after about 3 weeks, this jug will be a mass of stems, and then you can just pot them up or plant them straight into the garden. Couldn't be more simple. Look at that. So this is so good for me. This is just a reminder of why we're doing it. We are making everything available for you to grow the same as me, so that your gardens are gonna be your haven next year, because that's what we really need at the moment, isn't it? Heaven on your doorstep. Here I've got a lovely tray of China asters. Now these desperately need pricking out, so this is my job for tomorrow. They need pricking out and giving their own space. So literally just a few days ago, these plants were in the same conditions, and look how much they've grown just in a few days. Now the key is the plants are juvenile. So even if they wanted to flower, they can't, because they are at the juvenile stage still. So you get them while they're young, move them, give them enough space while they're juvenile, and then they will very quickly bulk up. If you leave them too long and they come out of the juvenile stage, they will then start to bolt to flower, and that's when it is too late.
If you leave them like this, and once they pass the juvenile stage, they'll start to flower at the expense of this vegetative growth. And then you'll end up with very small plants, which will produce very small flowers and not very many of them. So the key is, if you've got plants in trays like this, the key is to give them their space as fast as possible while they're still young. They will bulk up, there'll be big plants, then you'll have big flowers and lots of blooms. It really is just as simple as that. Now I wish I put them in cells. So they need pricking out quite soon. I shall get on with that. Luckily, they are very resilient. And these have been here literally 3 days. 3 days since I pricked them out, and look at the difference already. They're going to be magnificent in the garden. Here I have another example for you. I've got 2 plants. Now, believe it or not, just 5 days ago they were both in a container this size. This one I haven't potted on, and this one I did. Look at the difference, and literally that's all it is. I potted this one on, it's got more space, and if I tip it out in a day or so's time, you'll find that it's already filled, this container. Its final position will be a 15-litre pot. That'll be plenty big enough for the plant for the rest of the season. But I just popped it in this bigger pot for the time being, just so it could get on with growing. But if you leave it, this is the same plant, both sown at the same time, and look how much smaller it is. So it's vitally important. It's like having too small a size shoe. Vitally important that you pop them on while they're young, and then you get the best out of them. There we go. This is my next batch of China asters. I've just potted them on, so we'll come back and have a look at them in a couple of days, and then you can see exactly what I mean. It is such a good season for the poppies. I have absolutely never seen them as big as this before. I mean, for goodness sake, look at that. They are towering over me. These are such good fun. And you can see the stems are really sturdy, so if you wanted to, you can just use canes. I've just popped them into Neil's frames just because they were easier. Look at that. 7 foot high, poker straight, giant poppies. This, where there's a will, there's a way. I've got 3 trugs here set up on my bench so that I can get on with me potting on without any bending. When reusing compost, I've just thrown this out. You need to be really careful. Can you see these? These are slug eggs. So you want to be so careful. You might think it's a really good idea just to reuse your compost for the next plants. But a slug has come along and laid its eggs in the compost, and then you're going to put a buffet on top of new plants, and they're just going to get munched immediately as soon as these hatch. So that is a really good reason why, if you're using your pots are more susceptible. You can get vine weevil, you can get all sorts of nasty maggots in it. That's why you just don't blindly reuse compost. Put it through the compost bin to recycle it first, and then all of this nastiness will make sure it's gone away before you put it on your plants. Wow, aren't these beautiful? And they're only in their cell trays at the moment. They're not even planted yet. Absolutely fabulous. Oh, and they smell divine. I don't know which colour to choose first. It's going to look so pretty on the terrace. So beautiful. I'm just cherry picking my colours. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Quite nice that they started to flower, so I can choose exactly which plant I want where. They smell amazing. Absolutely divine. And they will get bigger than this, and they will branch. There's so much to look forward to. Just a little water and we're all done.
Wedding flowers can take a really long time to do, and they're time critical because you can't start too early. However, a little hack which you can start weeks ahead of time is to use our pot stocks as table arrangements. You can just leave them to grow, and it really doesn't matter how far ahead they are in flowering. They're going to look fantastic whatever you do. You can even cover the soil with something fancy if you want to. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. This is a little tin bucket, so you could give these away as wedding favours to your guests. If you fancy something just a little bit more elaborate, how about this? I've got 4 of my pot stocks in this container, and the good thing about the pot stocks is they start flowering in their trays, so you can pick the colours exactly for your design.
These are the heaven sent stocks. Don't they look smashing? The foliage is so beautiful. So if you're wondering what these are, can't remember, don't look like stocks. They don't, do they? Because they've got this lovely dark green foliage. Absolutely beautiful. So I've given them plenty of space for them to grow because they've started to flower, but they will branch as well. They're really good, beautiful stocks. So I've given enough room that they can grow and they can flower. And then Neil can take this one away for me up to the patio, and then I'll water it once it's in situ. Oh wow, oh look at this. This is going to be another charmello. Look at that stem length. And this one here is just 7 plants. Look at that. I love it.
This pot I've already done. These are stocks for your pots. They're shorter than the field grown varieties, but I wanted everybody to have a chance to grow beautiful stocks in their own gardens. So I'm going to grow these, and then you can all have a look and see what you think, and maybe put them in your own gardens next spring. I get lots of questions about the size of this pot. It is 60 centimetres in diameter. And here they are. Now this is fast forward about 48 hours. I'm actually taking a rest day today. I've just popped down so I can show you the container on the patio, and you can see that after 48 hours they have visibly grown. Look at the heaven sent. You can see the height. They've definitely grown, and that's the reason why I wanted to get them out into their final flowering positions as soon as possible, because they've filled their cells, so there's no more room there. The sooner you give them some more space, the sooner they can bulk up and give you the biggest and the best plants and flowers. Now these seeds are only available from our seed shop because I bought them in as individual colours and then had a special blend made, so you'd only have to buy 1 packet. So you will not be able to get them from anywhere else, so make sure if you want them for next year you put them on your list. And then while I'm here, I thought I'd just quickly show you the Ranunculus, which are doing so well. No staking, no fuss. I've just been out here in all weathers, looking absolutely cracking, bringing me so much joy. And this is the Eris. Look, we've got our table out ready for our helpers. That's why I'm taking it easy today. Make sure I've got enough strength to do my directing. But yeah, that's looking really good as well, isn't it?